way. He was a center fielder then. Then he had some elbow problems, and he had some knee problems that really set him back.
He's one of the first guys we heard about with the microfracture surgery on his knees in an effort to regenerate some cartilage in his knees, and took him a long time to overcome that.
Grady plays the game the right way. He plays it hard every single day.
It's a fly ball to center. Kevin Pillar backs up a couple of steps, 2 quick outs. Well, defense has really gone through some rocky spells of late. They had a tough road trip to end up the first half of the season. Colabello, Pillar, and Bautista from left to right in the outfield. On the infield, Josh Donaldson and Jose Reyes on the left side. Devin Travis and Justin Smoke making his 33rd start at first base. Drew Hutchison will team up with the catcher Russell Martin tonight.
And welcome back to the All-Stars. You spent a couple of days in Cincinnati. Josh Donaldson back in. He was the starting third baseman. Russell Martin behind the plate. He was an extra man for the team.
Evan Longoria goes after the first pitch. Bautista on the warning track makes the catch. How about a 9-pitch start for Drew Hutchison? 3 up, 3 down. The Rays go down in order. Jose Reyes, then Josh Donaldson at third base. Reyes is on an 8-game hit streak, 14 for 38 over that time with 3 doubles and 5 RBIs. And then Josh Donaldson has absolutely worn out pitching here at Rogers Center. He's hit .352 for the season, hitting at home with 14 home runs and 35 RBIs.
That is a lineup that Jake Odorizzi will face tonight. Just his 14th start of the season for Odorizzi. He's 5-5 with a .230 earned run average. He looked sharp in his return from the disabled list. He missed about 5 weeks with a left oblique strain. And he beat the Houston Astros last time out. In his career, he's undefeated against the Blue Jays. 4 career starts, 2-0 in the earned run average against the Blue Jays. Just 2. He has been tough against Toronto.
When you look at the Blue Jays lineup against Odorizzi, there aren't many good numbers. Jose Reyes is just 1 for 10 against Odorizzi, but those numbers are throughout the lineup. Downstairs, ball 2. Reyes for the season is 4 for 33 against Tampa Bay. The Rays have pitched the Blue Jays tough all year long.
Well, they have so many good pitchers, and they always seem to bring their A game against the Blue Jays. We have talked about this before, that there's no tricks. Everybody knows each other because they play so many times.
Chris Archer will wrap things up for the Rays on Sunday. He's coming off his first All-Star game appearance, and he has morphed into an ace. One of the best young pitchers in all of baseball. Reyes will take the leadoff walk. But when you talk about the Rays, you always talk about pitching and defense, and they go hand in hand to success. And let's take a look at the Rays defensively in the outfield. David DeJesus, Kevin Kiermaier, who might be the best center fielder in the game today. Grady Sizemore, a former Gold Glover, now in right. Longoria, Elmore filling in for Cabrera, who's on the DL. Forsythe and James Loney, and behind the plate, Rene Rivera. for Jake Odorizzi.
They're missing a big piece defensively. Asdrubal Cabrera with a right hamstring strain. He's eligible July 27th, targeting late July. That's Jake Elmore with his third start at shortstop this season. Kevin Cash says that they're just going to alternate between Jake Elmore and Tim Beckham, shortstop, based on that day's starting pitcher. Who has more success against that day's starting pitcher? Tonight, it's Jake Elmore.
Josh Donaldson takes ball one. Odorizzi having a tough time throwing strikes early on. Great season for Donaldson. 293 average at the All-Star break. 21 homers and 60 RBIs.
I asked him if he liked the All-Star game, if he had a great time, and he said he loved the city of Cincinnati. He loved the festivities. I asked him about the home run hitting contest, and he didn't realize that he was up against Todd Frazier in the semifinals. He kept wondering why everybody was booing as there's a balk.
They called Odorizzi for no stop, and you could hear the umpire clearly holler out, "That's a balk," which immediately stopped the game. And as he delivered the pitch, Kevin Cash, the manager, wants to know why he balked. Now watch Odorizzi here. You could hear Jeff Kellogg, the home plate umpire, called him for no stop. So Reyes now in the scoring position with nobody out. You mentioned Donaldson up against Todd Frazier, and Frazier, of course, the Cincinnati Red that really captivated the entire audience, both at the ballpark and across North America.
With the home run hitting contest, Josh was saying that he didn't realize he was playing him in the semifinals, and every time he would make an out, they would be cheering. And every time he hit a home run, they started booing. He couldn't understand why. They figured out he was up against Frazier.
3-1 now to Josh Donaldson. Bautista will bat next.
Blue Jays have to take advantage of this wildness right here from Odorizzi. Doesn't walk too many ball players when he's out there.
There's strike two. Odorizzi has walked just 3 in a game this season. That's his season high in walks allowed. He's a strike thrower like so many of his teammates in this starting rotation.
He's got the 4th best whip in the American League, the 7th best opponent's batting average. And there's another walk.
Back-to-back walks to start the game, and that sets the table for Bautista. Let's take a look at the scouting report for Jake Odorizzi.
Throws hard, Odorizzi. Fastball mid-90s, but he's got a great movement on it. You can see he can cut the ball just a little bit. I think his out pitch is that splitter. I was talking to Brooke Jacoby about it today. It's more of a changeup. He uses a split grip, and it's got splitter action, meaning it tumbles towards home plate and gets a lot of ground balls when that is on. It's a great compliment to his fastball that he can get a lot of movement on.
Jose Bautista takes a pitch up and away for a ball. Bautista is 0 for 5 in his career against Odorizzi. Excuse me, he's 0 for 9 against Odorizzi, just 2 for 23 this season against the Rays.
There is a lot of Blue Jay batters who have had their problems with the right-handers from the Tampa Bay Rays. The Archers, the Cobbs, the Odorizzis just have not put the numbers together against those good pitchers.
There are a lot of teams that struggle against the Rays pitching staff. Bautista has 299 career RBIs right here at Rogers Center. He's hit 112 of his home runs here at home at Rogers Center, and he's hit over 300 in these situations.
How about that? 301 with 39 of those RBIs coming in this situation right here. And he's got him set up.
Perfect pitch on the corner outside, 2-2. Bautista's average not where we're used to seeing it, 239, but he's right there among the leaders with 60 RBIs. Another pitch outside. He spoils a good pitch from Odorizzi.
Have a good fastball right there. Jose gets lots of opportunities with this ball club. And you're going to drive in your runs when you hit with runners in scoring position. Just a .239 batting average. Show that average over 300 with runners in scoring position. And on this team, I think 1 through 9, the Blue Jay batters, they all have chances to knock in runs.
Up and away, and Bautista strikes out. Big strikeout for Odorizzi. First out of the inning.
Yeah, it looked like Jake Odorizzi just reached back and said, you know what? I'm having trouble getting my little cutter / slider over my breaking ball. I'm just going to play some old country hardball right here. 3 straight fastballs to Bautista after he fell behind 2-1, struck him out.
The cleanup man is the DH Edwin Encarnacion, trying to pick up Jose Bautista here in the first. Odorizzi gets the call on that pitch that looked like it might have been off the plate outside.
Well, that's the thing about, they got the great hitters and the great power, but they don't go out of the strike zone, do they? They
Very
don't chase.
patient.
Very patient. Make you get in that strike zone.
And then Odorizzi delivers a perfect pitch down and away.
What do we used to say to the pitcher? Hey, we'll let you know when it's a strike. You'll know by the sound of our bats.
Yeah, that's a common response to a pitcher complaining about the strike zone. 0-2. That's off the plate outside.
That, too, was a common theme the last time the Blue Jays played Tampa Bay, especially the right-handed power hitters. Everything was away. They stayed away from the power swings of the Bautistas and the Donaldsons and the Encarnacions. They said if they're going to beat you, we're going to have to beat you going the other way.
Odorizzi saw a sign from the catcher Rivera, and then he stepped off the mound, and Rivera chose to go out and talk things over. Obviously, a big part of the ball game early on here. The Rays have led the season series. They've won 7 of the 10 games these two ball clubs have played so far. Kevin Cash in his first year as the manager. Ball is hit high in the air to right. Sizemore gets underneath it. Reyes tags at second, and he'll move to third on the long fly ball out off the bat of Encarnacion. 2 down now.
That's why they are pitching them away. Pitch away from the power. You can see he just wasn't able to get to that ball, reach it, and drive it out of the ballpark. Stay away from the power by pitching with hard stuff away.
So now after back-to-back walks to start the inning, there are 2 down. Runners at the corners for Justin Smoke. Smoke getting the start at first base tonight. His 33rd start at first. Smoke has delivered in these situations, batting .423 with runners in scoring position.
All he has to do right now is hit a ground ball to shortstop, and he'll have an RBI.
Outside for ball 1.
Very
How much
heavy.
of an adjustment is that for a hitter like Smoke to try to alter your swing?
They in batting practice, they take those kind of pitches and they hit the ball on the ground, they'll pull it, they'll hit the ball the other way. They practice it every single day. I think right now, here in the first inning, you got 3 infielders, extreme pull on the right side. There's a perfect pitch for it right there. The changeup. You keep that barrel back and just hit a ground ball to the left side, you're going to get a hit and an RBI. Look at that. There's 1 defender on the left side of the infield.
Those are the numbers we mentioned in clutch situations for Smoke. Ground ball right to Loney. Well, a promising start for the Blue Jays. A couple of walks to start the inning, and Odorizzi strands a pair. We're scoreless after 1 at Rogers Center.
because he's only 16 years old. But when you have a look at this guy hitting, he is absolutely huge. And he was hitting some pretty hard line drives. His father, Vladdy Sr., was here to watch him as well. A number of Blue Jay people were here checking him out as well. Now, the question was, when will we see him in some level of Blue Jays baseball? The thing is, he's only 16 years old, so he's not really allowed to even play in the Dominican Summer League. He is playing in an unofficial league in the Dominican Republic with a number of other kids that were signed by teams but not old enough to play in the Dominican League. If everything goes well, we'll see him with one of the Blue Jays organizations by next spring. But I tell you something, looking at this kid hit out of the cage today, there could be a pretty big future. And guys, he doesn't look a lot like his father, especially that whole body build he has.
He's a very strong-looking young man, and we say that he's just 16 years old, and what a good-looking swing he has.
We were talking to some of the Tampa Bay Ray players before the game. They thought it was some kid they brought up from Double-A just to get some batting practice and some work. We said, no, he's 16 years old. Yeah, he's going to be a power hitter.
This is James Loney, and Hutchison delivers strike 2 with a changeup. Loney has been on the disabled list twice this season. He fractured a finger, and boy, he's a big part of their team, both defensively and with the bat. Hutchison delivers a strike, and that's how you take advantage of an 0-2 start to an at-bat, finish him off.
Well, I love what Drew Hutchison is doing so far here. The first 4 batters of this game, he's using his fastball and he's being able to put it where he wants to, but he's also taking something off. This 0-2 fastball freezes James Loney. A little comeback fastball. They wanted to go up and in, and it was enough to strike him out, his second of the night. Look where those pitches are. That's what you want.
Quality strikes. Hogan Forsythe, the second baseman. He's put together a very good season, batting .274. Breaking ball. Boy, Hutchison throwing enough strikes to induce the Rays to swing. Typically, they're not a free swinging ball club, but when you throw strikes, they've got to swing.
They have to swing. You're right. They have had their trouble swinging at times this year. The Cleveland Indians, ouch, that one right off the foot. That series they had against the Indians, I think it was 3 or 4 games that were perfect games late. No hitters late into that ball game.
Yeah, the Rays were talking about that series. They faced some tough pitching in Cody Anderson, Carlos Carrasco, Danny Salazar, and Corey Kluber. And it was a tough matchup.
Right off the top of the hand. He just can't pull those hands back in time to get him out of the way, and it's a hit batter.
45th time a Rays batter has been hit this season. Forsythe hit by a pitch for the 11th time. David DeJesus, the left fielder. Hutchison continues to pour that fastball in there. Hutchison needs a big second half. You look at his record and say, well, what's the problem? He's 8-2. Well, his ERA is almost 6. And by his own admission, he needs to be more consistent.
Yeah, that's the problem that has plagued Drew in the first half, is inconsistent. One day he'll go out there and he'll spin 8 innings and give up just 2 earned runs, and then the next time out there he can't get through the 4th inning. And I think a lot of it has to do with his inability to command the fastball.
Smoke wants him to check that video. The first baseman slapped a quick tag on Forsythe, and he immediately pointed to the dugout. Said, take a look at that one.
I don't know if he wasn't paying attention over there at first base. Maybe he was looking in at the catcher to try and catch a sign or not. Now Blue Jays are going to want to look at this one.
Chris Cuccione, the umpire at first base, made the call, but Smoke put a quick tag on Forsythe. And you're right, it looked like Forsythe didn't pick up Hutchison. He didn't react very quickly.
You know, runners over there, they'll look in at times to try and catch a sign from the catcher. Boy, I think that one was pretty close. It looked like it was before he got to the bag. Watch how late he gets back in the snap throw from Hutchison.
Well, you certainly can't fault the umpire for poor position. Guccione really moved into a great position to make the call. And we have the advantage of slowing things down, but it appears as though Smoke may have tagged Forsythe on the hand before his hand is squarely on the base. Once again, the review has to have evidence that you can overturn the play, and if it's close, the play generally will stand on the field. Both managers very interested in this situation, and these two teams play very tight ball games all the time, so every out is very important.
It always seems like the game goes down to the last inning, last half inning, last out when these two teams get together. So you're right, every one of these outs are important, just not real sure. There's the tag, but does that show that he's on there or not?
Well, the crowd reacting here at Rogers Center believes that the replay up on the Jumbotron shows that Smoke tagged him before the hand was firmly on the base. The Blue Jays have lost 6 of their last 8 home meetings against the Rays, and Tampa Bay has played the Blue Jays tough here at Rogers Center. The umpires appear to have a decision. Jeff Nelson is the home plate umpire and the crew chief. And he is there, and now they're going to wave him safe. But Nelson went over to the camera well for some particular reason, but the call on the field stands.
There just wasn't enough evidence, I think, that firmly shows that the tag was before he got to the bag. It looked close, but I just don't think there was enough there to overturn the call.
So it's a 1-1 count to DeJesus. Forsythe at first base with 1 out. Forsythe has 7 stolen bases. He's been caught just twice. This time he's back much easier at first. Another off-speed pitch. He took something off that fastball, and that's been a real good adjustment for Hutchison early on.
I've seen so many. I think I've seen more changeups here the first 2 innings than we have seen in any one start this year from Hutchison. Pete Walker was talking before his last start. He wants to see 15 or 20 changeups from Hutchison in a start. I think that'll really get the opposition off of his fastball.
And then that makes the hitter late on the fastball as DeJesus fouls off that 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
You know, you start throwing your fastball where you need to for strikes, and then you start mixing in a changeup like that and gives him something extra. Then you start throwing the slider for strikes, and I think for Hutch, that's been the biggest difference this year compared to last year. What teams are hitting against that changeup, or excuse me, against that slider? There's another changeup. They're hitting over 300 against his slider this year.
It's very difficult for any pitcher to survive on 2 pitches. That third pitch really changes your percentages of success. Just another additional pitch for a hitter to concern themselves with.
Yeah, you need that third pitch if you're a starter. It's just going to help you get through the lineup 3 times, get you deep into ball games, and they need Drew to go deep into a ball game tonight.
Jake Elmore, the starting shortstop tonight, is on deck. Full count, 1 out. They may start to run it right here, just trying to stay out of a double play. There goes Forsythe. Ball 4. The pitch is outside. First walk issued by Hutchison. 2 aboard with 1 out.
They haven't made contact yet. These are the numbers that we're talking about. The fastball versus the slider as opposed to 2014 and this year. Last year against the fastball, they're hitting 250, 279 this year. How about the slider? Look at the difference in the batting average. 185 last year against Hutch. on the slider. This year they're hitting over 300. And again, that's just inconsistency. One time he'll have a very good slider and he'll have a high strikeout game. Next time he'll spin the ball and he'll hang it. He just has not been able to find that good release point on that slider consistently this season.
This is Jake Elmore, the shortstop. He takes strike one. I think that's the one thing that Hutchison is striving for, is the consistency, just the ability to repeat your delivery and throw strikes with all your pitches.
The velocity is the same as last year. The whiff percentage is the same.
There's a fly ball to right. Bautista backs up a few steps. He makes the catch. Tagging is Forsythe. He goes from second to third on the fly ball to right.
You know, the strike percentage is the same last year to this year on the slider. It's just he hasn't thrown the quality of slider that he did last year.
Russell Martin out with a quick visit to the mound to Drew Hutchison. Probably a reminder that Kevin Kiermaier, the batter's a threat to bunt. Even with 2 outs, he's a real speedster, and he'll take advantage of any opportunity to drop the bunt down.
Yeah, and I think the right side of the infield should take advantage of that. Devin Travis, the second baseman, is playing deep. If he bunts the ball and gets it by Hutchison, he's going to beat it out. You can see how deep Devin is now with 2 outs.
Kiermaier, the center fielder. Up and in for a ball. Forsythe is at third. He was hit by a pitch, the 45th time a Rays batter has been hit. That's the most in the American League, second most in the majors. Another off-speed pitch, and it doesn't make any difference what type of hitter you're pitching to. It can be a slap hitter like Kiermaier or a power hitter like Longoria. That changeup is effective.
Did you see him take that pitch? I mean, he was totally fooled on that off-speed pitch.
Nice job by Hutchison. Another changeup results in a broken bat comebacker. Hutchison in trouble, but he pitches his way out of it. Still scoreless.
Brought to you by Bacardi, and it was a good one, and we'll have another one coming up at the end of the month, Friday, July 31st, when the Blue Jays host the Royals at 7:07. And get to the ballpark early for our pregame festival outside Gate 10. The gates will open at 4:30, and you can enjoy a live performance by special guest Chad Brownlee in the license area. Go to BlueJays.com for more details. Guys, it was a little bit nasty with the rain today, but the fans are still outside having themselves a great time pregame.
Man, it's a good party. They have a nice group of entertainers, and of course they had the country western singer there this afternoon, and they'll do it again on the 31st of this month.
Nice looking crowd tonight here on a Friday.
The unofficial beginning of the second half of the season. This is the 92nd game for both of these ball clubs. Russell Martin, the All-Star, fresh off his appearance in Cincinnati. Changeup on the ground. Elmore goes across the diamond, scooped by Loney, who's got some very good hands over at first. Odorizzi pitched against the Blue Jays on the 13th of April. Pitched a career-high 8 innings and had 13 ground ball outs in that game.
He's got a lot of late movement on his pitches. You can see his fastball's got some natural cutting action on it. And again, that split, if you will, it's like a changeup with split-like action. As a hitter, you got to really get through that baseball. You're going to top a lot of those pitches. Get on top of it, you're going to hit a lot of ground balls.
This is Chris Colabello. There's a curveball in there for a strike. "55 games for Colabello. He joined the ball club early in May, and he has put up some good offensive numbers. 8 homers and 32 RBIs for the Blue Jays left fielder.
Boy, he hits the ball all over the place. That's why I'm a little shocked that the infield is set up the way they are with 3 infielders on the left side, like he's going to pull. He has the ability to stay inside that ball and hit a ground ball through the right side, especially against a pitcher who throws as hard as Odorizzi.
Well, that's the old question as far as what do you set your defense to? Your pitcher's strengths or the hitter's strengths? I think Tampa Bay sets up their defensive shifts to their pitchers more than their hitters.
I do too. And you can see Tom Foley, he is the infield coordinator, moving the infielders around once again. And their scouting reports must say early in the count the right-handed batters are going to try and pull the ball. The Bautistas, Encarnaciones, all the right-handers. But once they get to 2 strikes, you can see the defense has straightened up just a little bit more. Blue Jays having good second 2-strike approaches.
There's a cutter that missed down and away. Full count to Colabello. Kevin Pillar, in his first season as an everyday player, has put up impressive numbers. He'll be next. Another cutter that Colabello fouls on.
You know, he can be so tough on right-handers. Righties are hitting just 180 on him because he's got that cutting action in that splitter. The Blue Jays have a lot of right-handed batters also in their lineup, which favors, I think, a pitcher like Odorizzi.
Another 3-2 pitch. He missed with that splitter upstairs, and Colabello will walk. That's the 3rd walk issued by Odorizzi. That ties his season high.
Yeah, he hasn't found it just yet. Struggling with his off-speed pitches here early in the ball game. And I think that's where the Blue Jays, okay, they're having good at-bats against a guy who's tough on right-handers. Make the adjustment. Maybe shoot the ball to right field right here. You got a huge hole on the right side.
Kevin Pillar will bat, and we have seen Pillar all season long. He uses the whole field. He's got a big hole between Loney and Forsythe. Pitch outside for a strike. Blue Jays wrapped up the first half of their season losing 10-11 in Kansas City in a disappointing way to finish up the first half. There's a line drive to left. De Jesus broke back. He was able to recover and make the catch.
You know, we were talking in the opening that this guy's got #1 type of stuff for a pitching staff, I think you're seeing that this year. Look at the earned run average, about half of what it was last season. The opponent batting average versus righties, just 180. That 180 average is the 5th best in Major League Baseball. So you're starting to see improvement. You're starting to see a guy taking the next step, I think, as a starter. Much like Chris Archer. Chris Archer's taking a big step this year.
Devin Travis takes a strike. Devin's average back up over 300. Boy, he has really swung the bat well since coming off the disabled list. He's hit .379 in the 16 games since activated off the DL. He had that bruised shoulder that forced him to miss from May 17th to the 25th of June.
He has had great at-bats. His approach at the plate has been outstanding. You see during that 5-game hit streak, he's hitting .450. He had a great road trip. That 10-day road trip, Blue Jays didn't have a good road trip as a team, but Devin certainly did as a hitter.
There's an off-speed pitch, and Odorizzi jumps ahead 1-2. Travis on the road trip went 14 for 37. In the dirt, blocked by Rivera. We're in the bottom of the second. No score in the ball game. We were still looking for the first hit of the ball game. Odorizzi, Jake has walked 3. Colabello walked with 1 out. He's at first. You're right about Odorizzi. He just hasn't found his rhythm yet, and that's why he's taking that extra time now.
A lot of time in between pitches, trying to get together, working with Rivera, the catcher. Just hasn't found it.
Bouncing ball. Elmore takes the short hop, throws on the run in time to end the inning. So the Blue Jays leave another base runner. They've stranded 3 so far, all reaching on base on balls.
Canada trying to pull off a huge upset against Belgium in Davis Cup quarterfinal action. Tomorrow, Daniel Nestor leads the way in doubles at 9 a.m. Eastern on Sportsnet 1. Tough for the Canadians who've already lost Milos Raonic and not going in a very healthy squad.
Yeah, it's too bad a couple of the top seeds, Raonic and Pospisil, both out of the Davis Cup action against Belgium. Drew Hutchison off to a good start tonight. He's thrown just 28 pitches in the first 2 innings. And he's throwing a lot of first pitch strikes.
Yeah, getting the over breaking ball right there to Rivera.
Ball and a strike to the Rays catcher, Rene Rivera. There's strike 2 right at the knees. He elevated the fastball and gets his 3rd strikeout. 1 down. Let's check it with Jamie Campbell. Masahiro Tanaka on the mound for the Yankees. He allowed just 1 hit through his 2 innings. This is going to be a dogfight, Pat, in the American League East. You look at these 5 teams in the division, all separated by a total of 6.5 games.
Yeah, and every one of them, I think, has the ability to win the division. Who's going to get hot? Who's going to possibly make a move to get some reinforcements to help their team? You know what that does to a clubhouse when it's reinforced like that. When you get a player, it just energizes the whole team.
It sure does. And I think players are so sophisticated now. They know what's going on around baseball, and everybody hears the rumors. And when you look at the Blue Jays and what they've done against the East, they have a winning record against everybody but the Tampa Bay Rays. Of course, they will play the Yankees 6 times in the next couple of weeks. And New York has played very well lately, and they've got Jacoby Ellsbury back and healthy. Gardner had a first half that warranted the All-Star game.
Tanaka seems to be healthy.
Bouncing ball. Travis from the outfield will throw to first to retire John Jaso. 2 up, 2 down here in the 3rd.
Yeah, the Blue Jays, they'll have their share of Yankees over the next few weeks or so.
Blue Jays are 4-2 against New York, so they'll have 13 games left with the Yankees before it's all said and done. And no matter how many times you'd like to write off the New York Yankees, you just can't do it.
No. You can't do it. I think they've got some decent starting pitching if they can stay healthy. And they've got a great bullpen. What the Blue Jays have to do, I think, they have to play a little bit better on the road. They have had their struggles when they're away from Rogers Center.
19-28 on the road for the Jays so far this season. And after this short 3-game homestand, they'll head out west to play 2 teams that they've always had trouble with, the Oakland A's and the Seattle Mariners. Two and 0 to Grady Sizemore. He rips it down the right side. That ball is a foul ball that hooks into the seats. That'll get your attention. You wanted front row seats, you better be watching.
Yeah, you better pay attention or bring a glove like that young man did right there. He was ready to make a play. That's how you turn on a 2-0 pitch right there. Grady Sizemore, it's 2-0. You're looking to do some damage. Extra bases.
Two and 1. Upstairs, now 3-1.
Boy, this would be a good time right here to use that changeup right here. Fastball count. Take a little something off. Maybe you can get the ground ball right here.
Deep drive to center field. Pilar is back looking up. This ball is gone. Grady Sizemore got the fastball and hammers the home run, his 2nd home run with the Rays, and the Rays have a 1-0 lead.
You know, I saw the way he went after the 2-0 fastball and ripped it to right field like he was sitting on it. When the count got to 3-1, I thought changeup would be the perfect pitch. You'd get him out in front, but they go with the fastball. It's elevated, it stays up, there's no sink to it. It's about a bell-tie fastball, and Grady hammers that ball to deep right center field. Well, did the fan get that ball back? Yes, sir.
He had a glove on it and then dropped it, and it was returned. So Sizemore, in his new role with this new ball club, he's starting out the season with the Philadelphia Phillies. Tampa Bay signed the veteran. That's his 2nd home run. It's given the Rays a 1-0 lead. Evan Longoria, he hasn't been able to solve Drew Hutchison. He flied out to right in his first at bat. He is now 1 for 14 against the Blue Jays right hand.
Hits everybody else, doesn't he? Especially on the Blue Jays. He's had some great numbers against the Blue Jays. He just can't figure out Hutch.
There's a changeup. Caught Russell Martin on a left shin guard. Russell showed some signs of wear and tear toward the end of that last road trip, and he's an everyday catcher. He's got to deal with catching the knuckleballer. And you can see Longoria checked with him to make sure he was okay.
Hey, anybody who catches every single day in the big leagues, they're going to get beat up.
It's a little warm there in Kansas City on Saturday and Sunday as well. You know, the All-Star game is a tremendous honor, and I'm sure everybody enjoys it, but those would be nice days to rest for a guy like Martin. Longoria pops it up. Martin makes the catch. The inning is over, but Tampa Bay has taken a 1-0 lead on the Sizemore home run. Jake Odorizzi has the lead. He'll face the top of the Blue Jays order. Jose Reyes, Josh Donaldson, and Jose Bautista when we come back.
Go to the ball game. Get a Blue Jays Acura luxury suite. You can have your business meeting and see a ball game at the same time. Account executives will find the package that best suits your needs. Go to bluejays.com/luxury seats for more details. Fuck, I think you get so much work done if you're at a ball game as opposed to an office, you know?
Mary, this is our office, and I kind of like the surroundings. It works very well.
It's like going on the golf course and closing the deal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Come to the ball game.
Top of the order, as we mentioned, Reyes, Donaldson, and Bautista. The Blue Jays are down 1-0. Jake Odorizzi hasn't really found his stride yet. He has walked free. He has yet to allow a base hit. Reyes walked in the first.
That makes it 2-1. You noticed when we were talking about Odorizzi at the beginning of the telecast, his one-loss record is only 500. 5-5, but his ERA is 2.30.
He's got the lowest starter's ERA at 2.30 with a non-winning record. He is 5-5 with a 2.30. Shelby Miller of the Atlanta Braves is also 5-5 with a 2.38. Reyes hits it hard. Forsythe, couple of steps to his right, one down. To finish off that list of impressive ERAs with a non-winning record, Scott Kazmir, who the Blue Jays will face out in Oakland. He is 5-5 like Odorizzi and has a 2.49 earned run average. Giovanni Gallardo, who we saw with the Rangers, he has a 262 with a 7-8 win-loss record. And Johnny Cueto, he's 6-6 with a 273. That's some pretty good pitching.
Yeah, some of the games that Odorizzi left, he left a game where he was down 2-0, down 2-1. Another game where he was down 2-1. Another game that was tied 0-0. They just don't score him any runs.
They don't score anybody any runs.
they're having trouble scoring runs. That's true. Again, he's also missed about 5 weeks on the disabled list with the left oblique strain.
Ball 2, ball 3 now to Josh Donaldson. That pitch is up and away. The Rays average 3.6 runs per game. That's 13th in the American League. Donaldson thought it was ball 4. Now he's got to pick up his bat.
Yeah, players don't like to do that. They don't want to feel like they're showing up the umpire. Josh has a pretty good knowledge of that strike zone. He thought that one was off the plate.
There's ball 4. This time he won't have to pick up the bat. That's a season high 4 walks issued by Odorizzi now. And you take a look at the most runs scored in the American League, the Blue Jays far and away the leaders.
That's why I think this series is going to be very interesting. You've got the great pitching of the Tampa Bay Rays against the Blue Jays offense, who are blowing everybody out of the water when it comes to most runs scored in Major League Baseball. 486 of them the first half of this season.
Jose Bautista takes a breaking ball for a strike. Yeah, these two teams, you talk about polar opposites. Blue Jays are first offensively, and the Rays are near the top in the pitching categories.
So those two are going to collide.
Bautista hits it to Elmore in short. Quick turn by Forsythe and a nifty double play. That ends the bottom of the third. Odorizzi starting to find his groove. Tampa Bay has a 1-0 lead after 3.
Presented by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
The Rays are in town, a 3-game series over the weekend. Tampa Bay has a 1-0 lead on the strength of a 2-out home run off the bat of Grady Sizemore, his second home run of the season. For Tampa Bay, it'll be Loney, Forsythe, and DeJesus, 4, 5, and 6 in the Rays order. The Rays have had all sorts of problems with injuries. And James Loney, as we mentioned, had spent 2 different stints on the disabled list this season.
I think that's what makes it so impressive what Tampa Bay has done this year. Even with all the injuries that they have had, they're starting to get their guys back, but they're still losing guys, and here they are.
Matt Moore, the left-handed pitcher, has just returned, coming back from Tommy John surgery. John Jaso was on the disabled list. That's pulled foul on the off-speed pitch. The Rays have used 47 players, most in the major leagues. They've used 27 different pitchers, and they've used 21 rookies. So the rookie manager, Kevin Cash, in his first season has had to dig deep into the depth of the minor leagues. Off the end of the bat, Reyes gobbles it up. Loney's retired. One down.
You know, and it's not just, you know, a player here, a player there. You're talking about some of their better players. Steven Souza Jr. back on the disabled list with a lacerated finger. Drew Smiley, we saw him a little bit, and then he goes back on the disabled list. Alex Cobb, their best starting pitcher, has been basically out all season long.
Desmond Jennings, one of their key outfielders, got injured against the Blue Jays, and he hasn't played since April. They expect him back in August, but no telling what kind of player they're going to get back after missing almost 4 months of the season. Logan Forsythe, he's been steady for the Rays, batting .274. He was hit by a pitch in his first at bat. It was an 0-2 pitch inside, and Hutchison clipped him. That's the same pitch that hit him. This time he was able to get out of the way.
No, he's right on top of the plate. And watch when he strides. He really keeps that front shoulder closed and strides towards home plate. Try and reach that outside pitch. Look at his hands. They're over the inside part of the plate. And now Hutch can't find it as he's behind 3-1.
Hutchison has walked one and hit one. It's only been one hit in the game. That was the home run by Sizemore. The slider's off the plate. A one-out walk issued to Forsythe. Drew Hutchison opening up the second half, same way he opened up the start of the season. He was the opening day starter for the Blue Jays against the Yankees back on the 6th of April. And starting that game, he became the youngest opening day starter in franchise history. DeJesus bounces it to Travis. He flips to Reyes for one, back to first. Double play. So the one-out walk is erased on the 4-6-3 double play. Hutchison gets the ground ball he was looking for. Encarnacion, Smoke, and Martin when we come back.
Market regular season game live or on demand in true HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and much more. It also includes a free At-Bat 15 subscription. Watch baseball at home, at the office, or on the go. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Buck, did you watch a little bit of your MLB Premium while you were on vacation?
No. I was on vacation, Barry. I did keep up on what was going on with the Blue Jays, of course. Blue Jays are down 1-0. Edwin Encarnacion leads things off for the Jays here in the fourth. Edwin flied out to right. Pops this one a mile high behind home. Rivera flips his mask aside, stays with it, and dropped the ball. Absolutely dropped the baseball.
He had it. He had it in his glove and then started to turn to face the infield, and the ball popped out. A lot of times you'll see catchers. I think that's why Kevin Cash is going to come out here and talk about this. But a lot of times you'll see catchers go up there with two hands, catch the ball, and then close it with that bare hand, close the glove with it. Watch what Rivera does. One hand, and in the transfer, trying to go to his glove, drops the ball. And I think that's the argument that Kevin Cash is going to have. A lot of times you see him use that meat hand and close it and hold it there just for a second. When he catches it, tries to transfer in his glove to throw it around, and it drops out.
Yep, Kevin Cash will give up the argument because there was no voluntary release, and he went in there and just missed his hand. He was trying to flip it into his bare hand. So it's an air charge to Rivera, the catcher. Ball and a strike to Encarnacion.
Now make it hurt right here. You get a second chance if you're Edwin Encarnacion. Let's take advantage of it right here. Tampa Bay doesn't create a lot of errors. They've only had 45 this year, fourth best American League fielding percentage, so they don't beat themselves.
Broken bat to Hopper to Longoria. Across the diamond in time. The error doesn't cost Odorizzi. One down. So Justin Smoak will stride to the plate. Smoak grounded out with runners at the corners in the first inning. Blue Jays have stranded 4 in this game. Check that, they've stranded 3. They had a double play to erase the walk in the third. Odorizzi looks like he's getting zeroed in a little bit.
Starting to throw a little bit more quality strikes. This guy is working on as Rivera gets hit with that. I think that's 13 straight innings now of not allowing an earned run for Odorizzi.
He went on and disabled us with that strained oblique muscle, and this is his second start since coming off the deal. Elevates that fastball. That ball is hammered to right. That's going to get down for a hit, go up against the wall. Sizemore plays it off the wall. Smoak is headed for second, and he's in there with a slide. The Blue Jays get their first hit. It's a double for Justin Smoak.
That was an off-speed pitch from Odorizzi, and he missed his spot. You're talking about him starting to find his groove. Well, he hangs another one right there for Justin Smoak, and he doesn't miss it. There's the split action type of changeup. He calls it the thing. It was taught to him by Alex Cobb, who's got a very good changeup. But that one hangs out over the plate. He wanted to bury that one downstairs, but it's up over the plate. And it's extra bases for Justin Smoak.
Russell Martin with Smoak at second and 1 out. Chris Guccione said that Martin went around at strike 1. Martin's got a mini 4-game hit streak. 4 for his last 15 coming into this game. He grounded out to short to start the second inning. Fouled straight back. 1-2 to Russell Martin. These two teams have always played tight games. Tampa Bay has the season advantage. They've won 7 of the 10 games these two teams have played so far. Changeup pulled foul outside of third.
They're evenly matched, but they're different types of teams. We were talking about that last inning, about the great pitching that Tampa Bay has going against the great hitting that the Blue Jays have. On the other side of that, the Blue Jays pitching is down in the American League, and so is the Tampa Bay Ray hitters. So it's an even match when you cancel each other out like that. That's why the games are always so good.
And once again, it's proof that good pitching will shut down good hitting. We have seen that all season long in these head-to-head games against Tampa Bay. Two balls and 2 strikes to the Blue Jays catcher. Base hit to center field. Smoke got a good break. They're going to stop him at third as Kiermaier gets it back in very quickly. Russell Martin drilled the single to center, right at the center fielder, Kiermaier.
Yeah, and he's one of the best center fielders in all of baseball with 8 outfield assists, so you're not going to run on him. A little surprised that they are actually going to pitch to Russell Martin with first base open. Odorizzi hangs the ball to him. It's hit so hard to center field on a bounce to Kiermaier, so Smoke cannot score. And that'll bring Jim Hickey out to the mound.
What do you think the theme of this conversation is?
Well, I think it has to do with what he was throwing to Russell Martin, don't you? With too many off-speed pitches, too many change-ups. And now he can get out of this with a ground ball to Colabello. But Hickey, he's delivering a message right now to Odorizzi. He has something on his mind that he wanted to tell his young pitcher.
Well, Odorizzi is a little bit out of sync in that this is just his second start since June 5th. That last start at Seattle against the Mariners, that's when he injured his oblique, went on the DL, and he's only made 1 start since, and his last start came against Houston on the 11th of July. So Chris Colabello with a chance to tie things up. Runners at the corners and 1 out. Interesting how the defense has shifted more straight away with Colabello batting with runners in scoring position. In his first at bat, there were 3 defenders on the third base side of second.
And that's why Colabello's hitting over 300, 325 coming into this ball game, because he can use the whole field. Rays know that.
High fly ball to center. That's going to score a run. Kiermaier on the warning track. Tagging at third is Smoke. Martin will tag, but he'll hold it first, and Colabello has tied it up with the sacrifice fly. His 33rd RBI of the season. It's a 1-1 game.
There's the adjustment right there. You don't lead the major leagues in run score by just hitting home runs or being one-dimensional. You come up with situational hitting. And the Blue Jays have done that this season. That's why I was a little surprised that they pitched to Martin with first base open. The single sends the runner to third base, and he's cashed in by that sac fly by Colabello.
Well, another good call by the third base coach, Louis Rivera, in stopping Smoke. You have Colabello, who's done a good job driving in runs, and that set up the sac fly. Pilar goes after the first pitch.
That stops Jake Odorizzi's consecutive scoreless streak right there at 13 2/3 innings.
Changeup is pulled foul. 0-2 quickly for Odorizzi. The sac fly by Colabello is the Blue Jays' 33rd sacrifice fly of the season. It's not all about hitting home runs.
That's right. You don't lead the world in runs like that by just being a one-dimensional type of team, just hitting home runs or just stealing bases or whatever. You got to score them in all kind of different ways, and that's what the Blue Jays can do, and they've done all season long.
1-2, 2 outs. Now it's 2-2. Justin Smoke doubled with 1 out. Moved to third on the base hit by Martin and scored on the sacrifice fly off the bat of Chris Colabello. Another off-speed pitch pulled foul into the seats. The Blue Jays lead the American League in doubles, and it has paid off once again. That leadoff double was the first hit, and the first of 2 hits for the Blue Jays this inning. This is popped up behind first. Long run for Forsythe. He'll get there, and the inning is over. But the Blue Jays have tied it up. Chris Colabello with the sacrifice fly. It's 1-1. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zaun.
$97 per month for the first 3 months. Find out how. Call 1-888-ROGERS-1.
Thank you very much, Barry. Good crowd here on Friday night. First of 3 games for the Blue Jays, and then they'll head out west, have an off day on Monday before they resume action on Tuesday in Oakland against the Athletics. Boy, do they have a tough schedule ahead as far as the starting pitching they're going to face.
Yeah, that's all you have to look at right there. We all know about Tampa Bay, and seems we always play the Tampa Bay Rays, and Chris Archer is going to be pitching against the Blue Jays. He's one of the best in the American League. Then you get Sonny Gray out in Oakland. He's no day at the beach.
Archer is 9-6. He'll wrap up this series on Sunday. Chris Archer 9-6 with a .274 earned run average. This is the shortstop, Jake Elmore. Breaking ball hit on the ground. Reyes near the bag at second, throws him out. Well, we talk about the tough schedule and the tough starting pitchers the Blue Jays are going to face, and you look at the tough test ahead.
Well, you mentioned Chris Archer and his sterling record and earned run average. Then on Wednesday, how about Sonny Gray? 10-3 with a .204 in Oakland, which is a great pitcher's ballpark. And then the King Felix on Friday, 11-5, .284 earned run average. I mean, you're playing some of the better teams in baseball, and they're the better teams because they've got great starting pitching. The Blue Jays are going to see a lot of that in the next 10 days or so.
This is Kevin Kiermaier. Reaches for that, hits it past Donaldson. This is going to be tough, and there will be no play. Kiermaier runs very well, and he slapped that ball past the third baseman, Donaldson, who was shortened up guarding against the bunt.
That's the hard part about that. If fast runners could just do that, get the reputation that you're going to bunt, so you bring the third baseman in and just hit the ball on the ground. You get it by the third baseman, you've got yourself an infield hit.
Donaldson, he had the position to guard against the bunt, but Kiermaier slapped it past him, and that extends Kiermaier's personal hit streak against the Blue Jays to 7 straight. He's got a big lead, and he can run. He is 9 for 10 in steals this season. He leads the Rays in that department. This is the catcher, Rene Rivera. Fouls it back out of play. Kiermaier's an interesting guy at first base.
Yes.
He is, we mentioned, maybe the best center fielder in the game today, and doesn't get the recognition he deserves for his defensive skills.
You and I had a great chat with him before the ball game today. He was telling us when he got into high school, he was a freshman. He was 5'4", 110 pounds. By his senior year, he had grown to 5'9". He said, I was small my whole high school career, 5'4", then I got to 5'6", and then 5'9". And I think by his senior year, he might have been 5'10". But he was always the smallest guy on the team. Played a little basketball, played football, loved baseball, but he was a little guy. He was a late bloomer.
He went to junior college, and that's when his career kind of took off. He had a great season in junior college. He was a late-round draft pick of the Rays. Just one of those guys that always beat the odds. He was a 31st round draft pick in 2010, and he got up to one game in 2013 in the postseason in the wild card game for Tampa Bay. So kids out there, my message to you is if you love to play, keep playing.
Yeah. And height and weight don't mean a thing. If you've got baseball skills, and Kevin's got baseball skills, just get out there and just keep playing. Someone will see you. It doesn't matter what round you're drafted in.
There's a pop-up down the right side. Smoke out, Travis over. Travis calls him off, and Snow cones the ball. Devin Travis did a good job. Smoke had a beat on it, but Travis had a better angle and called for the ball and made the catch.
Yeah, and pop-up priority, he is the man right there. Call off the first baseman, and you can see him saying, I got it. Smoke bails out of the way, and watch the ball. It rolls right up those fingertips and gets caught in the webbing for the out.
Again, that's why you use two hands.
That's exactly right. You see how he squeezed his glove together with his other hand?
So 2 outs now, back to the top of the order, the DH, John Jaso. You got to keep your eye on Kiermaier here.
Yeah, he has got to be going right now. You mentioned he's only been thrown out one time, so you like your chances right here. If he does get thrown out, Jaso leads off next inning. If he's successful, Jaso gets to hit with a runner in scoring position.
Hutchison doing a good job of holding that baseball and freezing Kiermaier at first. You don't want to fall into a pattern of stopping and releasing the ball at the same time.
Yeah, those runners over at first base, they'll start timing you up. 1001, 1002, go. Always want to go early in the count.
There he goes. He got a good jump. This is a base hit to center field. Pilar has to lay back on the ball, and Kiermaier breezes from first to third on the 2-out base hit by John Jaso. Kevin Pilar did the right thing right there. He had no shot at throwing out Kiermaier, so he played the ball on 2 hops in center.
Yeah, slow things down just a little bit, if you will. He knows that he is running on the pitch, so he's going to make it all the way to third base easily. The thing you don't want to do is come hard charging thinking you're going to throw the guy out and you bobble it just momentarily. He might be able to score then.
So Grady Sizemore, who has a home run for Tampa Bay, that came in the 3rd inning with 2 outs. Line drive to left field. Colabello is there, and the inning is over. Sizemore flies out on the first pitch. Tampa Bay strands a pair. It's still a tie game.
Summer weekend here at the Rogers Center, but inside, winter will be coming. Yes, join us as we turn the ballpark into a winter wonderland this Sunday, July 19th, when the Blue Jays wrap up their three-game series with the Rays at 107. The first 20,000 fans will receive a pair of these Blue Jays winter mittens. Go to BlueJays.com for tickets. Buck?
That's an interesting giveaway, and it's been coming on the schedule for quite a while. Everybody's been talking about it, so it is Snow Sunday. This Sunday, the 19th. Come on out and get your mittens and get set for winter. That's a horrible thing to think about.
I
already,
know.
isn't it?
I'm still getting used to it getting warm. I can't wait for the warm weather. It's supposed to be warm this weekend.
Sounds like it's going to be a great weekend here. Devin Travis takes a strike. It's 1-1 to the Blue Jays second baseman. Reaches for that cut fastball down and away and fouls it into the seats out of play. Jake Odorizzi battled his control in the first 3 innings. He had 4 walks, a season high in the first 3 innings. Lined up the middle, base hit for Devin Travis. A leadoff single here in the bottom of the 5th. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Ubaldo Jimenez has been roughed up by the Tigers. 6 earned runs on 6 hits over 4 innings. Aníbal Sanchez has held the Orioles to 2 runs on 7 hits, and the Tigers have an early lead. Chris Davis was robbed of a home run in that game by J.D. Martinez, the right fielder. It's the 3rd time this month Chris Davis has been robbed of a home run. Reyes bunts it up the third baseline. It's a beauty. Longoria fires to first in time. But Reyes moves Devin Travis to second. Longoria, the Gold Glover at third, made a nice play.
The only way he was going to make a nice play is if he barehanded that ball. If not, Reyes puts down a perfect bunt. Watch how he puts backspin on that ball and just deads the ball once it hits the turf. Right there, Longoria's only play is to come in the barehanded, and still, look how close it is, a half a step at first base.
Longoria did a good job of breaking down his momentum before he got to that baseball and was able to barehand it and throw out Reyes. So Donaldson, who has walked twice already, bats with Travis in scoring position. Odorizzi working out of the stretch. First pitch changeup, and Donaldson lays off. Josh has had a terrific first season with the Blue Jays. He's one of just 3 Jays to hit 20 or more home runs and drive in 60 or more runs in the first half of the season. Raul Mondesi did it in his first year in 2000 when he hit 23 home runs and drove in 63. And Troy Gloss did it in 2006 when he had 20 homers and 61 ribbies at the All-Star break.
You know, on top of that, the home runs and the RBIs, how about the leadership that he has shown, the grit and determination and the toughness that he brings to this lineup, and then the big hits that he's had this year.
Yeah, he's been a great addition to this ball club. You bring him in and put him in the lineup behind Reyes, ahead of Bautista Encarnacion. There's a ball hit high and deep to right. Sizemore back at the wall, at the track. Goodbye, home run. Donaldson does it again. An opposite field home run for Donaldson. And the Blue Jays have the lead.
Well, you want to talk about big hits, there's another one. First time he swings the bat tonight. He walked his first 2 times up. The first time he gets a pitch in the strike zone, and the All-Star sends it flying.
That's his 6th opposite field home run of the season. Something that he has really identified hitting here at Rogers Center as his home ballpark.
You know what he does is he stays behind the baseball. He doesn't leak out, or his front side doesn't get to that front foot until he's ready to swing the bat. And when you stay behind the ball like that, that allows you to drive that ball to right field. Watch how he stays back. You got the high leg kick, and now everything is behind that swing, and you're able to use that strength and drive it out over the 375 sign in right field.
Good cut by Bautista on the high fastball. Here's another look at that home run swing. RBIs number 61 and 62 for Donaldson. That moves him into a tie with Mark Teixeira atop the American League.
Boy, just a pretty swing to right field.
Three and one to Jose Bautista. Pops this one down the left side. That's going to reach the seats out of play.
You know, that's another thing that Odorizzi doesn't do a lot of, is give up home runs. That is just the 6th home run that he has given up this season.
Way outside, Bautista will take ball 4. That's 5 walks now issued by Odorizzi. So Kevin Cash has started the bullpen as Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, goes to the mound. That is Alex Colomé, who has been removed from the rotation and put down in the bullpen with the return of Jake Odorizzi.
And he will work as a long man. Still just the 5th inning tonight. Odorizzi's already thrown 89 pitches with 1 out here in the 5th inning. He just hasn't looked right since the beginning of this ball game.
Now, he's always been a guy that can throw strikes with all of his pitches, and we mentioned the 5 walks, a season high for Odorizzi. Josh Donaldson with a 2-run home run to right has put the Blue Jays out in front 3-1. First pitch cut fastball off the plate. Pitching him down away. You mentioned the Rays have continued this pattern of pitching the power hitters away.
You got to take what they give you. You're not going to hit that ball out of the ballpark. At least you're not going to pull the ball and hit it out of the ballpark. If they're going to pitch you away, Edwards certainly has enough power to get the ball out of here to right field.
Drives this one in the alley. This is going to get down, and Bautista's around second. Kiermaier gets the ball very quickly, and they're going to stop Bautista at third as Encarnacion delivers the double to the alley in right center. Bautista read it perfectly, and he was thinking about scoring, but Kiermaier got to the ball very quickly and gets it back in.
Watch Kiermaier, the center fielder, cut this ball off. This had double and RBI written on it all the way, but he catches it on one bounce and in one motion fires that ball in. If the shortstop had stayed at second base, they had a chance to get Encarnacion at second base. But he thought that ball was going to get by Kiermaier, so they went with the double cutoff.
This is an interesting infield alignment. They're playing in against Justin Smoak. Runners at second and third, just one out. Smoak doubled and scored his last time up in the fourth. There's a fly ball deep to left field. This one's going down. 3-run home run for Justin Smoak. Number 9.
I'll tell you, every time he plays, gets a start for the Blue Jays, he's doing something to help him, either with his glove or with his big bat. And that swing is going to send Jake Odorizzi out of this ball game. Justin Smoak with another big fly.
The Blue Jays breaking out the big bats against Tampa Bay. Smoak, RBIs number 26, 27, and 28. They've knocked Odorizzi out of the game. The Blue Jays have a 6-1 lead. Alex Colomé coming in. The Blue Jays out in front. They lead it 6-1. Justin Smoak goes opposite field against Jake Odorizzi on a pitch down and away.
Yeah, it looked like the thing, if you will, that's what he calls it, his changeup. He stayed right with that ball. Didn't try and pull it. And you can see he's got plenty of power to hit the ball the other way. Odorizzi's given up a couple of home runs tonight. He is now out of the ball game. Justin Smoak sees to that with his 9th home run to left field. Blue Jays have scored 6 total. The new pitcher for the Rays. This is Alex Colomé. 15 games, 13 of them starts for Tampa Bay. 3-4, 485 earned run average. Righties are hitting 287. The lefties 294 with a whip of 147. He will take over here in the bottom of the 5th.
Reyes had an important advantage in this inning, had a sacrifice bunt to take advantage of the leadoff single by Devin Travis. Russell Martin, 1 for 2 so far. This is the 19th time this season the Blue Jays have scored 5 or more runs in an inning. But they haven't done very often against the Rays is score a lot of multiple run innings. Rays have pitched them tough. Donaldson with a 2-run home run. Smoke with a 3-run shot.
Boy, they come prepared, to really beat your brains in. That's Brooke Jacoby looking over the scouting report for Alex Colomé. Colomé is basically fastball slider type of pitcher. He'll pass that information around the bench.
That's the first appearance of Colomé against the Blue Jays this season. Martin stays back on that breaking ball and fouls it out of play. This is popped back over the screen and out of play. The Blue Jays, they have the most prolific offense in all of baseball. They lead it 6-1, and when they pass that magic 5-run plateau, they are 39-10 when they score 5 or more runs. And they can wear out some pitching, man. Off-speed pitch, and Martin strikes out. Jake Odorizzi, the starter tonight in this first game of this 3-game series, and the Blue Jays treat him rudely.
Yeah, well, he came into this game with an ERA of 2.30, and the Blue Jays roughed him up. He'll be charged with 6 hits and 6 earned runs and 4 in a third innings this season. Only 1 strikeout. That was to Jose Bautista in the first inning. And that, again, that's what makes the Blue Jays so tough. They hit for power. They take their share of walks, 5 of them tonight from Odorizzi. In his shortest outing this season, that wasn't the result of an injury. He pitched 4 1/3 innings a couple starts ago when he got injured. But that's what they do to you. They can hammer you.
Chris Colabello had a sacrifice fly off of Odorizzi in the 4th. That tied the score at 1-1. And Blue Jays have kicked the door wide open here in the bottom of the 5th. Fly ball into center field. Grady Sizemore comes over and makes the catch in right center. The inning is over, but the Blue Jays put up 5 runs, including a couple of home runs, and knock Odorizzi out of the game. And here comes the Home Hardware Cleanup Crew, brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products.
And enjoying those big comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone, our guests of TD. Meanwhile, over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse, Jays Care is presenting a check for $100,000 to Kids Sport Canada. The money will help subsidize baseball fees for kids across the country. For more, visit bluejays.com/kidsport. What a fantastic donation that is.
It sure is, Barry, and it's an opportunity for kids to get out and play some baseball if they otherwise might not be able to afford the initiation fees of those particular associations. Defensive replacement in left field. That's Ezequiel Carrera in for Chris Colabello. Evan Longoria drills this to center field. Pilar is back looking up off the wall. Longoria is headed for second. Here's the throw. Longoria gets there standing up. A leadoff double for Longoria.
Tough to keep him down. He is such a good hitter. That's just the second hit that he has had off of Drew Hutchison in his career, trying to get that fastball to sink down and in, and it stays over the middle of the plate. And Longoria, we've seen this over the years. Quick bat through the zone, off the wall for extra bases.
That base hit extends the hit streak for Longoria against the Blue Jays to 9 straight. The longest active hit streak against the Jays, Mookie Betts of the Red Sox, has 14 straight. Dustin Pedroia 10 straight. Manny Machado of the Orioles 10 straight. James Loney fouls it straight back. Pivotal inning for Drew Hutchison as he's trying to have an extended outing here.
Yeah, his team just scored 5 runs in the bottom of the innings, giving you a comfortable, if you will, lead at 6-1. You want to keep attacking that strike zone. Don't change anything. You're throwing a beautiful ball game. Keep mixing in that changeup. Spot your fastball.
Upstairs with that changeup. 2-1 to James Loney. Drew Hutchison is 6-1 here at Rogers Center this season. Coming into this game, his ERA at 2.12.
That's impressive. In this ballpark, an ERA at 2.12. You know, everyone knows what a great hitter's ballpark Rogers Center is. 6 of his 8 wins have come right here, and a great earned run average. How about for his career? It's not too shabby either.
15-6 in 26 career starts coming into this game tonight. Changeup. Good pitch. Smoke will go to the bag. Loney's retired. Longoria moves to third, 1 down.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Good crowd on hand here at Rogers Center tonight. First of 3 games against Tampa Bay. 32,908 in attendance.
Wow. Good job.
Good Friday night crowd. Logan Forsythe, the second baseman, has been on base twice. Now he's got a base hit. He'll drive home Evan Longoria on the first pitch. For Forsythe, that's his 36th RBI of the season. Cashes in that leadoff double by Evan Longoria.
That's what the Rays have to do. They don't hit a lot of home runs, but they have to move runners and have good at-bats. Leadoff double. They get him over with the ground ball to the right side, and he's cashed in by Forsythe on that base hit through the right side.
David DeJesus grounded into a double play to end the fourth. A 4-6-3 double play. Line this time to Travis, who goes to first. Not in time. Oh, what a play by Devin Travis. And then he had the instincts to throw quickly to first, and Smoke was standing on the bag waiting for the throw.
Get yourself into position. Devin Travis, all 5'9", gets up. When he comes down, he just can't get his footing to get much on the throw. He goes up, catches the ball. You can see he's got the 1 foot, throws it off that 1 foot, just cannot get enough on it to get the double play at first base. But what a play. That looked like it was going to be a sure base hit.
2 down now. Jacob Elmore, the shortstop, is 0 for 2. Asdrubal Cabrera injured himself on Saturday before the All-Star break, scoring on a base hit, strained a hamstring. And he was really playing well for Tampa Bay. He had committed just 2 errors all season long at short. And as Pat mentioned earlier, they're going to mix and match it short with Elmore and Tim Beckham.
And they'll look to see the matchup, the pitcher, who's going on the mound, and who has better numbers. That's how they're going to do it till the end of this month.
Nice block by Russell Martin to keep Forsythe at first base. Bo Schultz loosening up, and he has earned the right to more important innings for John Gibbons. Elmore defensive swing stays alive. Drew Hutchison, a very efficient outing, pitching with 2 outs here in the 6th. That slider in the dirt, smothered by Martin. Dumas and 2 strikes. Tampa Bay has scored a run here in the 6th. It's 6-2 Blue Jays. There goes Forsythe. The ball is popped in the air. Second baseman Devin Travis calling for it. Makes the catch. That ends the inning. Devin Travis, a rookie second baseman, flashing the leather a couple of times this inning. Travis takes away a base hit from David DeJesus with this elevated leap. Devin Travis having an outstanding rookie season. Not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. The Blue Jays have a 6-2 lead thanks to a couple of long balls. Josh Donaldson hit a 2-run home run, his 22nd. And in the same inning, the 5th inning, Justin Smoke hit home run number 9 for the season. Blue Jays scoring 5 runs in the 5th inning. Colomé delivers a first pitch strike to Kevin Pillar. Good slider down and away, hard at 90 miles an hour. 0-2.
I'll tell you, they can bring some arms out of that bullpen. Tampa Bay. Colomé's got the good fastball and the good breaking ball that you saw right there. You start gearing up for that heater and he throws you a changeup, you might see some bad swings.
Look out, up and in. 1-2. The Rays have been consistent in their ability to stay near the top in the American League in earned run average over the last several seasons. Breaking ball. Longoria with a nice grab on the backhand. Throws Pillar out.
Think about all the changes that they have had to their pitching staff over the last, 7 or 8 years? I mean, you've gone from David Price and James Shields and Matt Garza, Jeff Neiman back in the day.
Wade Davis was a starter for Tampa Bay.
Davis. I mean, they have just brought him in and out of this, but the constant is Jim Hickey, pitching coach.
Devin Travis 1 for 2. Jim Hickey is among the best in baseball as pitching coach, and he always insists upon fastball command. He encourages his pitchers to command the fastball, build off of that, add the changeup, change the speeds. And if you look at all the pitchers, whether they're starters or relievers, they all have an off-speed pitch, whether it's a splitter or just a straight changeup, something to take the sting out of the opponent's bats.
And you know what? You're not going to pitch in the big leagues for the Tampa Bay Rays until you have fastball command. If you don't, it's not happening. And that's why they have been really a force, I think, in the American League East for the last 7 or 8 years.
Hickey's in his 9th season as the pitching coach for the Rays. I asked Chris Archer this afternoon what makes Hickey so good. He says he's a great communicator, and he understands when you're ready for instruction. He doesn't just rush you with instruction the moment you hit camp, the moment you join the organization. He's an observer. Hickey sits back and watches pitchers. Chris Archer came to the Rays in 2011, and they stuck him back in Double-A. And it frustrated Archer because he had pitched well in that same league for the Cubs in the previous season. And he couldn't understand what the Rays were doing. But Archer said that Hickey didn't talk to him for the first couple of years. He just sat back and watched him pitch.
Standards are a little bit higher, I guess. You know, you have to succeed before you get to move on.
And then in 2013, after about 10 starts, Hickey approached Chris Archer and said, "You ready to go to work? I think you can be the best of the bunch." And he said, and that includes the big left-hander, David Price. 2-2 to Devin Travis. Pulled on the ground. Longoria, much easier play this time. Travis, 2 down.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
The unofficial start to the second half after the All-Star break. Blue Jays and Tampa Bay Rays. We're in the bottom of the 6-2 Jays. Jose Reyes maybe had the most important at bat of this ball game in the 5th inning, after Devin Travis single to start the inning. Reyes put down the sacrifice bunt, and that started the 5-run inning. Set the table for Josh Donaldson. Right to Loney. Reyes hit it hard, but right to the first baseman. 3 up, 3 down. The Blue Jays go quietly in their half of the 6th.
Sportsnet's MLB Live Tracker. You get play-by-play updates, batter hit zone charts, and real-time win percentage. Get MLB Live Tracker by clicking on any game matchup on sportsnet.ca/schedule. It's also available through the Sportsnet app. A great way to follow your favorite game. Buck, technology is just so fantastic now, isn't it?
It sure is, Barry, and you can catch up on everything you want to know. You want to know velocity off the bat, you want to know how far a home run went, everything you want to know right there on MLB Tracker. So check it out. Good crowd on hand here tonight at the Rogers Center. 32,908 in attendance, and it's been a good ball game. Blue Jays with 5 runs in the 5th, the 19th time this season they've scored 5 or more runs in an inning. New pitcher into the game is Bo Schultz.
Blue Jays go to the bullpen, and Bo Schultz is going to take over for the 15th time this season. Bo was the losing pitcher on Sunday when he gave up a leadoff home run in the 8th inning to Paulo Orlando in that crazy 11-10 loss to the Royals last Sunday. But overall, pretty good record. 0-1 with a 2.01 earned run average this season. Bo's pitched 1 time against the Tampa Bay Rays this year in an inning. He's had a walk and a strikeout.
This will be his 6th appearance in the month of July, and we'd mentioned that John Gibbons is going to lean a little bit more on Bo Schultz here in the second half. It'll be Kiermaier, Rivera, then back to the top of the order, John Jaso. Kiermaier single to short his last time up. Kiermaier, a 31st round pick by Tampa Bay. It's interesting, the 2 center fielders in this game, Kiermaier and Pilar, both picked late. Pilar was a 32nd round pick when he was drafted by the Blue Jays. And Kiermaier said he always kind of heard about Pilar as he was a year behind him in the different leagues throughout the minors. High fastball, and Schultz strikes out Kiermaier.
They're the same kind of player. They're just baseball players. They get it. They understand what they have to do, what their strength is. So there's a little respect there. Bo Schultz has a good arm. How about this? A little high fastball, 0-2. Change the plane of that ball up, and gets Kiermaier for the first down.
Little tapper right back to the mound. 2 up, 2 down. Rivera grounds out back to the pitcher.
Boy, that's what you want to see when you come out of that bullpen. Do it as hard as you can, throw strikes, make them hit their way on. He has thrown 4 pitches, he's had 4 strikes, and gets 2 quick outs.
You've got a cushion. You got a 4-run lead. Put the pressure on the hitters. Top of the order, John Jaso. Ball is buried in the dirt. Jaso gets out of the way of it. Two and 0. You talk about Pilar and Kiermaier being late round draft picks. How about Bo Schultz? He went to Northwestern, didn't pitch until his junior season. He was there studying journalism and had some friends on the baseball team and saw him throw a baseball. So why don't you come and try out?
Yeah, try out for the team and be a pitcher. And here he is pitching in the big leagues.
He played baseball in high school, but didn't really pursue it once he left high school. And here he strikes out Jaso. How about a 3-up, 3-down inning in the 7th? Bo Schultz comes out of the bullpen and throws up a 0. He's got a good fastball, and he utilizes it against John Jaso for the strikeout. Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 17 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Let's go back to the 5th inning after a sacrifice bunt by Jose Reyes. This sets the stage for Josh Donaldson with this deep drive to right field. Home run number 22 on the season. He drives in 2 runs and put the Blue Jays up 3-1. It started a 5-run inning for the Blue Jays. Josh Donaldson with another drive of the game tonight.
That 2-run home run gives Donaldson 62 RBIs for the season. That ties him for the lead in the American League with the Yankees' Mark Teixeira. New pitcher for the Rays, Steve Geltz, 42nd appearance of the season.
1-4 with a 341 earned run average. He pitches a lot. He's got the rubber arm. 42 games, like you said. This is the 6th time already this season that the Blue Jays have seen Geltz. He's thrown a 5 1/3 innings. He's had 6 strikeouts against the Jays this year.
First pitch upstairs to Donaldson. Donaldson has walked twice and homered. Hits another deep drive to right. Kiermaier at the track, at the wall, jumps and makes the catch. Oh my, what an effort by Kiermaier. He timed his leap perfectly and takes extra bases away from Josh Donaldson.
He gets over there so quickly that he's able to catch that ball. He got a great jump on the ball, finds the wall. Watch him. You can see he's shading Josh a little bit to right center field, but he's quickly gets over there, knows exactly where he is, times that leap, and hauls that ball in right against the wall. There are a lot of good center fielders in the American League. He might be the best.
Well, we have talked about three of them in the AL East in Kiermaier, Pilar, and Adam Jones. You could throw Jacoby Ellsbury in that mix with the Yankees, of course. And how about Mookie Betts, the youngster in Boston?
Not too shabby. That's just the American League East. How about that guy in Anaheim? He's not too shabby either. Mike Trout.
Bautista lifts a fly ball to right. Grady Sizemore is there. 2 down. You mean Mr. All-Star Mike Trout?
Yeah.
How about that? Back-to-back MVPs in the All-Star game.
First time ever? First time. It's been done 6 times where you've won multiple MVP awards. I think Steve Garvey did it, but it's never been done where you did it back-to-back.
And Trout led off the All-Star game with a home run. So he's hit for the cycle in the All-Star game. That's pretty good. 2 outs for Edwin Encarnacion. He rips it into the seats down the left side. Baseball is in very good hands as far as young players. When you think about the young star players that have emerged. Of course, we talk about Harper of the Nationals and Trout. Now you've got Rizzo and Chris Bryant with the Cubs. Mookie Betts we just talked about. Xander Bogaerts.
Manny Machado. How about the shortstop from Houston?
Correa.
Whew. People are talking about him as the next big thing.
I think it's great for baseball in that it's going to capture the imagination of the younger fans. When you have teenagers that can relate to Harper and Trout and Correa, all these great young players, just going to expand the fan base.
Blue Jays have one of their 20-something guys. How about Roberto Osuna? Guy's only 20 years old. Locking down the closer's role for the Blue Jays this year.
Alex Sanchez. He pitched last night and may be headed back to the Blue Jays after another start. Osuna has been terrific and certainly pitches well beyond his years. Full count, 2 outs. Encarnacion takes ball 4, a 2-out walk. So Justin Smoak, he's had a big night. Smoak scored the first Blue Jay run after he hit a 1-out double, came in on a sacrifice fly, and then hit a 3-run home run in the 5th. Pat, you know what they say about ball players that always complain about, well, you know, I never really got a chance. Well, if you stay ready and make the most of your opportunities, you're going to force your way into the lineup.
Absolutely, and I think you're going to see that from Justin Smoak. He doesn't hurt you with the glove. He's got one of the best, I think, in the American League. Soft hands around that bag, and every time he's in the lineup, he seems to do something offensively to help you.
You know what? And the transition for Smoak began in spring training. His first year with the Blue Jays, he was working with 2 hitting coaches for the first time, Brooke Jacoby and Eric Owens. And they saw Smoak, this great, big, strong, powerful switch hitter, and said, you know what, man? You got to think about lifting the ball. This is a high pop-up. Rivera, the only man that has a chance to make a play, and this time he makes the catch. Smoak is retired. Kevin Kiermaier takes an extra base hit away from Josh Donaldson. He leads all of baseball in defensive runs saved. He does it again with this catch up against the wall in right center. up right after this game tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on Sportsnet Pacific. It'll be the Red Sox in Anaheim to take on the Angels. Wade Miley pitched the final game before the All-Star break. Now he'll open up the unofficial second half for Boston. He'll go up against C.J. Wilson, a couple of left-handers. More baseball coming up later on Sportsnet Pacific. Bo Schultz in his second inning of relief. Grady Sizemore, the right fielder. Grady has gone 1 for 3 tonight. Hit that solo home run with 2 outs in the third inning. Well, that's a good fastball with late movement at 96, but it's down for a ball.
Yeah, on top of a good arm. He's got good movement on that pitch, that fastball. He just drops that arm a little bit and gets good movement at 96. That time it moves out of the strike zone again.
Sizemore went around. Bo Schultz has been a nice surprise for the Blue Jays. He signed originally with the Oakland Athletics back in 2008. Then he was let go. He re-signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2012, and the Blue Jays claimed him in October of 2014 off the waiver wire.
That happens every year, doesn't it? Some guys, they just don't fit in certain organizations. There's another good hard breaking ball right there at 93. They don't fit for some reason in that organization. They put on a different uniform and they're a different player. It happens every year. You always see that around baseball.
Well, there's no greater example of that than the Blue Jays right fielder. He was a very talented player, Jose Bautista. He bounced around, was with 5 teams 1 year, and then struck gold when he came to Toronto. Turned into one of the best players in the game when he hadn't been given an extended opportunity in any of the other stops. Bo Schultz with his 3rd strikeout. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. If you would have told me that Alex Rodriguez would have 19 home runs and 52 RBIs first game after the All-Star break, I'd have said you're fooling.
I would have said, what year are you talking about? 2000? 2001?
What a year he's had. Dellin Betances now into the game. Masahiro Tanaka went 7 innings, and he's throwing the ball very well lately. Despite that balky elbow, it hasn't been a major concern. Tanaka threw 103 pitches over 7 innings.
Yeah, if he stays healthy, CC Sabathia stays healthy, they got Ivan Nova back. They've got a deep and talented bullpen. And the Yankees are finished going to the West Coast.
How about that?
Yeah.
Blue Jays haven't even gone out there yet. And the Yankees have already completed their trips to the West Coast. Blue Jays will go out there for the first time Sunday night after the afternoon game here and enjoy an off day Monday in San Francisco. Longoria reaches for that breaking ball. Reyes fires a seed in time. 2 down.
Jose with a smile. I think he thought there were 3 outs on that play. He kept running and they said, where's the rest of my mates? He made the throw. You can smile when it's 6-2. How about this? Backhand, throw to first base. Okay, that's it. Thanks. Going to head in now. Wait a minute, where is everybody?
No, I just wanted to be the cutoff man over here on this throw around. Happens to the best of them. James Loney 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Eighth inning, the Blue Jays have a 6-2 lead. Brandon Gomes starting to crank it up for Tampa Bay. That's ball 3 to Loney. A 4-pitch walk with 2 outs. First batter to reach against Bo Schultz. He had retired 5 straight.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Blue Jays trying to get back to 500. They are 45-46 as we speak. Tampa Bay, if this score stands, will drop to 46-46. They will be even with the Blue Jays at 500. Logan Forsythe's had a perfect night at the plate. He was hit by a pitch, walked, and singled, picked up an RBI. That came in the 6th. Roberto Osuna starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays. That slider's off the plate. It's 1-2.
Don Givens said he was going to use Bo Schultz later in ball games. Here he is in the 8th inning. You can see why he likes him. He's got a good arm. And he can strike you out.
4 strikeouts in 2 innings for Bo Schultz. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Blue Jays have a lead 6-2. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zong. Fourth pitcher of the night for Tampa Bay will be the right-hander Brandon Gomes, making his 31st appearance. He takes over for Steve Geltz, who had a clean inning of work.
His last appearance was Sunday versus Houston, an inning, a hit, a walk, and a strikeout in that game. And the Blue Jays have certainly seen Brandon Gomes over the years. He has pitched 21 times against the Jays, and it really brings out the best of him. He's thrown 21 innings. He's had 26 strikeouts against Toronto. They're hit 195 against him. He will try to throw up a 0 here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
This will be his 3rd appearance of the season against the Jays. He'll face Martin, Carrera, and Pilar. Russell Martin is 1 for 3. He singled in the 4th. Ball on a strike to the Blue Jays catcher. Martin had an interesting at-bat at the All-Star game against Mark Melancon, his former closer in Pittsburgh. They faced one another, and Melancon was very complimentary in the impact that Russell Martin had on his career. And Martin took a called 3rd strike against Melancon. But the Pirates closer said that Russell Martin made him believe he could be an impact closer, and he's done just that.
You can't underestimate the job of a great catcher, and I put Russell Martin in that category, a great catcher.
He drills this to center field. Kiermaier breezes over and makes the catch in front of the warning track.
You know, all you have to do is look at the track record of Russell and what he has done with his teams and getting them into the playoffs. That alone, I think, tells you he's a great player.
Been in playoffs 7 times in his career.
Add to it Gold Gloves, and then the offense that he has provided over the years. Blue Jays, that's a great pickup for him.
Ezequiel Carrera took over defensively in the 6th inning in left field for Chris Colabello. His first at bat of the night, goes after the first pitch and drills this one to left. De Jesus on the warning track, a stride short of the wall, makes the catch.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Two down for Kevin Pilar, who's gone 0 for 3. He drives this ball to center. Kiermaier is there. An easy inning for Brandon Gomes. It took him just 6 pitches to retire the side in order. We'll go to the 9th. Blue Jays have a 4-run lead. Roberto Osuna loosening up in the Blue Jays pit, coming on to close it out.
Fans, game 2 of this series goes tomorrow right here at Rogers Center. It will be R.A. Dickey on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays. 12:30 start right here on Sportsnet. And guys, a little update from the farm. We should let you know that Daniel Norris made another start for the Buffalo Bisons tonight. Went 6 innings, Gave up just 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, but the concerning thing here is 4 more walks. Meanwhile, last night it was Aaron Sanchez's turn to take the mound, and he went 3 1/3 inning, made 63 pitches. He gave up a couple of earned runs, walked 2, struck out 3. And John Gibbons told me today that the important thing is he feels very good, very strong. They're not really concerned about the numbers at this point, and he will be taking the mound again on Tuesday for the Buffalo Bisons. At least one more start there before making his return to the Jays. Buck?
Barry, it sounds good that Sanchez is healthy, and I think Daniel Norris just is a matter of gaining confidence and ironing out his command issues, and he's got the stuff to pitch in the big leagues.
Yeah, fastball command, breaking ball command. We talked about it earlier tonight. You saw Roberto Osuna. This is another non-save situation for the Blue Jays. They are up by 4 runs. Osuna into the ball game to get the bottom of this Tampa Bay lineup.
DeJesus, Elmore, and Kiermaier for Tampa Bay. DeJesus has gone 0 for 2 with a walk. This is going to reach the seats out of play behind the Blue Jays dugout. Changeup misses up and away. 2-1 to the leadoff man here in the 9th.
What a first half of the year for Osuna in his first year in the big leagues. You saw the numbers we threw across the board there.
Popped up. Reyes, the shortstop, backing into the outfield. 1 out now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed and Sofia Jorstowicz. I haven't, Ken, but I'm sure that she's probably in attendance. She's a huge baseball fan, I know. There's a fly ball. Bautista a couple of steps over near the line. Jake Elmore flies out on that fastball. Chewed out.
I know she gets better seats than we do. And I thought you and I had pretty good seats.
Yeah, she's always in the front row. Two down. Kevin Kiermaier, the last hope for the Rays, trying to keep the inning alive. Blue Jays looking for their 4th win against Tampa Bay, against 7 losses.
And get that second half of the season, the unofficial second half of the season, off on the right foot right here. You're at home. Blue Jays play better at home than they do on the road. Get it off to a good start.
A strike to Kiermaier. 32,908 for game 1 of this 3-game series. Should be another great crowd tomorrow afternoon on Junior Jays Saturday. Rays are down to their final strike. Drew Hutchison will improve to 9-2, 7-1 here at Rogers Center. Ball game. Osuna wraps it up with a 1-2-3 9th inning. Drew Hutchison wins it, supported by a 5-run Blue Jays breakout inning in the 5th.
Yeah, I love what I saw from Drew Hutchison tonight. He really incorporated the changeup a lot more, and I thought he had the Tampa Bay Rays off stride. So he gets the win. The Blue Jays get the home runs, the 3-run home run by Justin Smoke and the 2-run home run by Josh Donaldson. They turn it over to Osuna to finish it off, and they get the second half off on a good foot.
Ford Donaldson, his 22nd home run of the season for Smoke home run number 9. We'll be right back at it tomorrow afternoon, game 2. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Here's Sportsnet Central.